Welcome back once again, Dean Hankey, Dino, and Reno, the marketing magician, getting to know you. And as you remember from our last micro training, VAK, your way to success. Understanding the visual, auditory, and kinesthetic behavioral styles of people so you can begin to make more appropriate deposits in every circumstance. So let's unpack this quite simply. So, VAK, see, visual, auditory, kinesthetic, see, hear, feel. That's basically as complicated as it gets. It's super simple. We all are a combination of these three predominant personality styles. The distinction is we have a predominant, like a dominator in these. I'm predominantly visual, which means, as you'll see, I speak a little faster. I do things a little bit different than the people who filter the world like I do through my eyeballs. I'm visual in nature, right? There are people who filter the world through their ears, through their mouths, right? Those are the auditory people, and people who filter the world predominantly, not exclusively, predominantly through their bodies. They are kinesthetic. So let's unpack the visual personality style. So visuals, and you'll begin to recognize them. You know visuals in your world. I am one of them, but you know visuals. And these are the people who relate to the world and each other visually. In other words, we predominantly filter the world. Our bias is through our eyeballs, through our visual strategy. You'll recognize them because they'll say things like, see what I mean? Look at this. See what I mean? How can you see what I mean when you're talking about an idea, right? Unless you're literally holding up a picture or something, right? But you hear people, mostly visual people. This is how you can begin to recognize them. If you take a moment and listen, and you'll see the visual people again have a tendency to move faster. So now, if I know you a little better, if I understand that you're predominantly visual, I can make more visual-like deposits. I can speed up my timbre, my tonality, my tempo. I can use visual language, like, I see what you mean. That looks good to me, right? Very, very simple. We have a tendency to be more fast-paced and make big, broad movements, and whereas a person who might be one of the other predominant strategies, my kinesthetic might move very little, if at all, or might make very short, not explosive gestures. So you can begin to see how this makes sense now, right? So fast-paced, we have a tendency to make bright. When I say bright, I mean committed colors. It's not pastels. It's black or brights or and looks, because why? Because we filter through our eyeballs. Looks are important. Not to say that visual people are vain. Because we filter through our eyeballs, we have a tendency to pay attention to how things look, right? Whether it's how things look on a plate, how things look on our body, how things look, whatever. See, just because. So, visual people have a tendency towards verbose. In other words, they're big and loud and fast, and typically creative, outgoing. And these are strengths and struggles, by the way, right? So, and we'll understand as we unpack some of the other modalities how you'll begin to understand that they are both strengths and struggles, and all at the same time, depending on how you filter the world. If you're visual, then we'll have a tendency, probably most likely, to get along, right? We say, oh well, yeah, I see what that means. That looks good to me. Yes, I get it, and we'll have a tendency to speak same fast-paced and high rate of speed, and everything is bigger than life. We're outgoing, we're social, fast, and sometimes appeared to perceived to be shifty by those who are not visual. So we filter the world through our eyeballs. Our next one, we'll understand the auditory learner, the auditory personality type. And as you begin to put these super simple three ideas together, you'll begin to see how people in your world are predominantly visual, auditory, kinesthetic, see, hear, feel, if they filter the world through their eyeballs, through their ears, or through their emotions or their body, right? Super, super simple. Next, auditories. Listen for that. Coming up next.